turns right. But today Houston Street is a one-way right there. So we have to turn just one block early and you got right back on the route. But sometime later this month they're going to change that back to 2 ways. So an interesting note about this trip to Texas was this is the first time that Jackie Kennedy had been seen in public in almost 9 months. In June, when I planned this trip, she was pregnant. And in August, she lost that baby. She was coming along for this trip because she was just as big of an attraction as her husband was. Women, they would flock to Jackie Kennedy. And then they go tell the very wealthy husbands to donate big to the campaign. So that's why she was coming. Now the Kennedys, they were first for many things in America. He was the youngest president ever elected, at just 43 years old. But just think about that for a second. Every president prior to Kennedy was an old guy. Now, we have this charismatic, boyish, good-looking president. And every first lady was an old woman. And now, a beautiful, classy, elegant, 31-year-old first lady. And for the first time in more than a half a century, there are now 2 young children running around the White House. So when Americans looked at the Kennedys, they can really identify with them. Although when Americans looked at the Kennedys, they did not just see a president and a first lady. What they saw was American royalty. That's what they were to Americans. This was like the British royal version right here in America for us. Yeah, the city's trying to repave down Elm Street a little bit right now. It turns left on Elm Street, which is a street we're on right now. So over the trade bar, there are 2,600 men and women dressed in their finest clothes, awaiting the arrival of the president. 2,600 steak dinners have been prepared, and the president will choose his steak at random. So this building on the right on the corner, that is the former Texas School Book Depository building and the 6th floor. Over here on the right, this is the grassy knoll and the picket fence. And directly ahead of us, that is the triple underpass. That is the end of the route. And right here is where the shots ring out. And the motorcade picks up speed and rushes President Kennedy to Parkville Hospital, 39 miles north of 35 miles around. Dearly Plaza is a confusion and chaos. People follow police up to the grassy knoll because witnesses say they're over there. The police storm up the Texas School Book Depository building. Witnesses ask the floor. The police search the building's lower floor. And they see a white male standing in the lunchroom, and he is very calm. The superintendent for the Texas School Book Depository, he tells Dallas police, and that man standing right there, he's okay. He's an employee. The name of that employee is Lee Harvey Oswald. So the president, he was shot at 12:30 p.m. And at 12:33, just 3 minutes after, Lee Harvey Oswald exits the building of the Texas School Board Depository. And he boards a city bus. But he does not ride that city bus very long. He gets caught up in some traffic. He then hails a taxi cab driven by Mr. William Whaley. It tells Mr. Whaley to take him to the 500 block of North Beckley. But who is Lee Harvey Oswald? Now, historians, they will tell you he's a nobody. He's an outcast. He's a misfit. But when you look at Oswald's life and what he really is, he's an atypical somebody. Oswald was born in New Orleans, Louisiana in 1939. And he had two older brothers. And his father died 2 months before he was born. His mother, she was horrible. She tried giving all three of her boys to an orphanage. But that orphanage would not take Lee Harvey Oswald. He was too young. So Oswald's mother, they moved to New York City. And as Oswald becomes old enough for the school, he becomes very disinterested. He skipped school day after day. In those days, they turned to weeks. Oswald, he spends most of his time away from school, down at the Bronx City Zoo, until one day he's caught by a true officer. He tells this officer that the reason he comes to the zoo so often is because he relates better to animals than he does people. He never learned to foster a real relationship. He trusted nobody. Oswald never did finish school. He dropped out at 16. At 17, he joined the United States Marine Corps. This is where Oswald learns how to shoot. This is where he learns to shoot a rifle. He earns a score marksman and does a tour of the South Pacific. He visits Japan and the Philippines. Just like school, Oswald, he does not have a very stellar career. He is essentially kicked out of the Marine Corps and given a less than honorable discharge. Now this made Oswald very angry. He is so resentful to the Marine Corps and the United States government that what I'm about to tell you is what makes Lee Harvey Oswald a somebody. Oswald is virtually the only person to ever defect from a country of freedom and liberty to one of communism. Oswald defects from the United States to Soviet Russia. And while he's in Russia, he meets a woman by the name of Marina, and he marries her. And after a couple years out of Russia, they come back to America and settle right here in Dallas, Fort Worth. Now in the spring of 1963, Oswald, he opens American Rifle magazine. And he sees an advertisement for Klein Sporting Goods at Chicago, Illinois. And he orders 2 guns. First is a .38 caliber Smith & Wesson revolver, which is a pistol. The second is a 6.5 millimeter Italian-made Carcano rifle with a scope. Now Oswald, he did not use his real name when ordering these guns. He uses an alias. He uses the name A. Heidel. Now, I do not know about anywhere else in the world, but in America, you cannot get guns like that today. You can send a fake name in the money order, and you have guns on your doorstep. And then, on October the 14th, 1963, Lee Harvey Oswald rents a room from the rooming house on the street you're on right now. Now coming up ahead of us on the right, this is Methodist Hospital. This hospital comes into play on November 22nd. it is now a little past 1 p.m. on November 22nd, and CBS Newsman Walter Cronkite interrupts television programming and says these words to the world.
From Dallas, Texas, the flash, apparently official, President Kennedy died at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, 2 o'clock Eastern Standard Time.
Now at the same time, Dallas police have put out an all-points bulletin.
In Hollywood, the Mustang has been using where the owner Houston is reported to be an unknown light rail approximately 30. Collector bills, height 5 feet 10 inches, weight 165 pounds, reported to be armed with what is thought to be a 30 caliber rifle.
So Oswald, he told his taxi cab driver to take him to the 500 block of North Beckley. But you see, that is actually 5 blocks past where Oswald wants to go. He does not want his taxi cab driver knowing where he's staying, or how to find him again later. Oswald's taxi cab fare was 95 cents. He paid Mr. Whaley $1, and he steps out in front of that taxi and he backtracks back to his rooming house. And his rooming house is coming about, not this intersection, but the next intersection. It'll be on the other side of the next intersection. Now the address is 1026. It's going to be the second house on the left once we get through this intersection. Now this house, it looks exactly the same. I think the only difference, that thing now has a DirecTV satellite dish on it. Other than that, it looks exactly the same. There it is, coming up right up here on the left, 1026. It's going to be the second house on the left. So it is 1:01 p.m. as Lee Harvey Oswald goes right through these doors at 1026. He goes to the left side of this house and he picks up his light-colored zipper jacket and his .38 caliber Smith & Wesson revolver. He is not in this house more than 1 minute. And he comes out that front door and he goes back in this exact same direction as came from. Now look at this little house, folks. On November 22nd, there were 18 rooms for rent. 5 upstairs on the ground level, 5 below in the basement, and 8 in the back house. So Oswald, he's going this way now. He just went this way in his taxi. He got out of his taxi at the corner of Beckley and Ely, and off what he backtracks back to his rooming house. And now off what he was going back in this exact same direction. The JFK assassination, it has been investigated many times. The Warren Commission was the first. Rockefeller did one. And even the House Select Committee of Assassinations in the latter 70s did one. The reason I'm telling you guys this is because where I'm taking you next, it has many different ways to get them from the rooming house. And no investigator knows which way he drove over here. Oswald took it to where we're going. But it is the wrong. Time and time again on all the routes. And it takes approximately 11 minutes to get to where we're going. And the reason that's important is because we're trying to solve a crime. Time is the glue that puts the pieces together. And this was the biggest crime of the 20th century. Now you guys comfortable back there? It's real good. See lots of gold. That's okay. We got a little detour today. We gotta make this turn right here because they got my other, the other street blocked off. So like I said, no investigator knows which way goes over here. Oswald took it to where we're going. But I'm going to take you guys on the exact route of a key eyewitness this next scene. So get it right up here, back on the route. Yeah, normally turn right here on Denver Street, right here on the left. Oh, looks like we got it cleared up now. So that key eyewitness I was telling you guys about, his name is Jack Tatum. And on November 22nd at 1:14 p.m., just 44 minutes after the shooting of the president, Jack Tatum is in his automobile driving down Denver Street. Now Jack Tatum, he comes up to this four-way stop right up here. He puts on his turn signal. And as he makes this turn on 10th Street, he sees a white male on the left sidewalk walking this direction. Simultaneously, he sees a Dallas police car coming up the street this way. And once that police car comes into view, that white male, he suddenly turns around and starts walking the other way. So coming up right up here on our left, you guys are going to see a telephone pole. And in front of that telephone pole on the curb, you're going to see the numbers 404 written right here on the curb, right here on our left. Now that guy, Jack Tatum, I was telling you guys about, he comes up this intersection in front of us and he stops. And everything I'm going to tell you, he witnesses in his rearview mirror. So there are 7 eyewitnesses this next scene. I'm going to tell you about 2 of them. Whoa! Oh, broke the window.